Hello and welcome everyone. This is your astrology forecast for the full moon in Capricorn. And today we are going to discuss about the low sides of Capricorn and Cancer and some high sides of Capricorn and Cancer. Why Cancer? Because Cancer is the opposite sign of a Capricorn and they are complementary signs. They fulfill each other. There is always growth between these opposite signs, and it's really important to understand that the opposites really help each other grow, and they are like two sides of the same coin. And this is interesting one because we will have some great support in this time thanks to Jupiter, the Lord of abundance, and then we will have some challenges through Mercury, through words, through expressions, through communication. And then again we will have some passionate creative help from Mars and Venus in Leo. So this is full moon in Capricorn, in pragmatic, devoted, disciplined and responsible and mature Capricorn. And it happens on the 11 degrees of Capricorn. So everyone who has something of cardinal signs near 11 degrees will feel this stronger, and those of you who are earth signs will have some benefits too, and the cardinal signs will have some challenges. Cardinal signs are Aries, Libra, Cancer and Capricorn, and this is happening in cardinal earth sign of Capricorn in opposition with the Sun in Cancer, cardinal water sign. So this definitely affects everyone, but for each of us it happens in different house, so it has a different meaning, but it will be about Capricorn themes. And Capricorn themes are responsibilities, duties, tasks, obligations. Of course, this is also with Virgo. Virgo is another earth sign, so this pragmatism is really felt strongly, and this need to be useful, this need to get some work done, to feel valuable, to feel like we have earned something. So we have this need to earn either money or recognition or some award or some approval or whatever. We have a need to achieve something. We have goals and ambitions. We will be driven by these things. And this is about our maturity, our responsibility, our discipline, our ability for hard work, and our ability to be loyal, to be reliable, to be devoted, to build something in the long run, to build something that will serve us for a long time. Capricorn is longevity. It's not about anything that is short term. It is about things that are really, that can withstand the chaos and the changes that happen in time. So the ruler of this full moon is Saturn. Saturn, also known as Kronos, the Lord of Time, the Lord of the Rings, the Lord of Karma. So this is about our karma as well, our karmic debts, our karmic relationships, our karmic attachments and our karmic lessons. So this has the tone of something being resolved. Full moon is a moment when the sun and the moon are in opposite signs. They look at each other, and the sun illuminates the full moon, and the full moon illuminates something in our life that has been hidden, something that has been avoided, something that has been neglected, something that has been ignored, something that we were unable to see before, or something we weren't ready for, will come to light, will be brought to light. Also, something we've been working on is very possible now to be manifested again, because this is added up because of Capricorn and Saturn. This is about manifestation. This is about bringing the subtle ideas and the spirit into the form. It's about embodying something. It's about matter. It's about material security and safety. But most of all, it's about inner strength. and self-mastery. This is the highest expression of Saturn and Capricorn. Self-mastery and self-discipline and ability to use the wisdom and experiences of wisdom for progress, for building ourselves as true, pure souls, to cultivate the value of the pure soul. So we may feel now as we are in the purgatory. And actually we should feel blessed if we feel this way, because purging is something to really be grateful for. Actually, we are going through this purgatory our whole life. Our whole life is about purging and cleansing and healing and cleaning. There is so much to be healed and so much to be purged, but this full moon and Capricorn is Saturn teaching us that we should value these lessons, we should value these challenges, we should value those hard lessons and hard work, because this is what gives us that wisdom of living, wisdom of life and wisdom of death, wisdom of the beginnings and wisdom of endings, and wisdom of everything in between that happens. So we are now in a big transition, and actually we are in a big transition our whole life, since the moment of our birth. And even before birth, we are always in some kind of transition. So we are feeling this like we are on the bridge between life and death. We are on some kind of bridge between the beginnings and endings. And each full and new moon is about the beginnings and endings. So we know that in order for something to begin, something has to end. And in order for something to end, something needs to begin. So we are now learning the processes of these things, and we are learning that for these processes we need time. This is about the time, very much about the secret and mysteries of time and space, about what is time and how do we use our time. I'm not talking about the time that we see ticking away on the clock. I'm talking about the feeling of time, the feeling of this body, which is also made of time, because it has the beginning and it has an ending. Everything in this material realm, in the material 3D realm, has its beginning and end. And the highest expression of Capricorn is searching for the meaning behind things that are changeable and that are in a constant transition, just as we are continuously. We are searching for something that is sustainable, that is here to stay, that is eternal. We are searching for pure essence. We are searching for our soul. This is eventually what we are all searching for always. We are searching for this kind of complete comfort. We are searching for the final resolution of the puzzle. We are searching for the complete truth in everything all the time. And that's why we get frustrated, because we are used to learn about things in a concrete material way, and we forget sometimes that there is a subtle world, there is an invisible world in this life too. And we are now learning more about these things, more about these hidden things that we don't see. Capricorn is about what you see is what you get. But the ruler of this full moon in Capricorn is also is Saturn, and it's in Pisces. And Pisces is about the transcendental. It's about the oneness. It's about the unconditional love. It's about the otherworldly reality. It's about the spiritual realm. It's about the surrender, the final liberation. So, and of course, besides having Saturn in Pisces, Capricorn, the highest expression, is also knowing this truth, knowing that there is something that connects us all, and that everything has its cause and effect. And sometimes it's not that there is first cause and then effect. Sometimes it's the other way around. And this is what confuses us. But during this time, we can understand that things are not always so logical and linear. They can, time moves in spirals, in cycles. It's not linear. And we are learning now that the time is very mysterious, it's very mystical. Time rules us. We cannot escape time, but we can experience time in its many different forms. For example, when we are experiencing something beautiful, time goes by so quickly, and before we know it, it's the end of the day, and we want to have more of it because it was so beautiful, but the time flew. And what happens when we are going through something heavy and hard? It seems like one minute is like 1 millennium. Or when we are doing some hard work, physical, or when we are going through emotional pain, or when we are experiencing grief, whatever, we feel that time is standing still. It's frozen. So these are just two different manifestations and expressions and perceptions of time, but there are many. Time can be stretched, and it can be shrinked, and it can be moved in all kinds of ways. It can be reshaped and shaped. And we are learning how to enter these different timelines so we can receive the messages of all kinds during this time, especially because this full moon makes an opposition with Mercury in Cancer, and we may have a need to express our emotions, to communicate about our emotions, but we may project our emotional insecurities onto others, or we may project our own inner child unmet needs onto others, and we may have a need to have a clear communication, to express ourselves, to express our emotions. And this is the message of this full moon also, to feel what we have to feel, not to hide, not to avoid, not to suppress, to say no if we have to say no, even if we have already made some promises. We don't have to do things if they seem to be exhausting us, if those things seem to be against us and against our highest expression. We have to tune in with what resonates with our core values, and our emotional world may feel exposed. We may feel emotionally exposed, and these are emotional messages and news, emotional conversations, and it's very much about knowing that these feelings are not there to punish us or reward us, but to teach us. All feelings and emotions are there to teach us something that is very significant for that particular moment. So it's important to also perceive these emotions and feelings as information now. Mercury is about information, and every emotion and feeling is some kind of information. So we receive information, our body receives an information that we have this kind of feeling, and we give it a name. We give our emotions names, and then when we know what it is, we somehow have some comfort. Oh, like we give it a name, and then like we know what it is. But we may not actually know truly what it is. We only gave it a name, and we put those labels onto those feelings, and then we identify certain names with those feelings. But what do we truly know about that feeling? Probably nothing, because we try to rationalize our feelings. But this is the moment when we can use our feelings in a very purging, healing, and cleansing way, in a mature way. This is about emotional intelligence, Cancer and Capricorn. It's about our emotional maturity and emotional intelligence. Most of us have this issue where we are intelligently on a very high level, and emotionally we are really on the level of an infant. This is true for all of us, because we have put so much effort and time into learning things that explain us everything, instead of learning also, besides those things, learning how to deal with our emotions, learning about what these emotions tell us, why we have certain emotions, why do we sometimes feel guilt, why, even if there is no rational reason for feeling it, why do we feel abandoned, why do we feel betrayed so often, why do we have this fear of being abandoned, why do we have fear of being misunderstood, where do these things come from? We have never learned these things. Nobody taught us about these things, how to deal with our emotions, how to deal with hard times, how to, just allow ourselves to feel. It's okay, it's normal, it's healthy to feel all the feelings that there are, and not just, allow ourselves to feel one package of feelings. So this full moon in Capricorn is really giving us an opportunity to open up, to expose ourselves emotionally, and to take full responsibility, Capricorn, of our feelings and emotions. Cancer, take full responsibility of what we are feeling in order to build ourselves as persons of integrity, because Capricorn and Saturn are a lot about integrity. So we are building ourselves, and we are cultivating this self-mastery mode of living instead of victim consciousness. We are releasing victim consciousness, and these kinds of conditionings that we've been living with are kind of just falling away from us. So what we have been suppressing and denying and ignoring generations upon generations is now blossoming, it's flourishing, it's blooming, and we have an opportunity to harness these fruits of our labor of past generations, even if those things are not so comfortable. We have to learn to live with what's uncomfortable too. I know it's not comfortable, but sometimes we have to go through these things as well. And Capricorn and Saturn can push us into those situations that are uncomfortable and that challenge us in every way, that challenge us to become more authentic, to have authority, to build our own authority, to truly become adults. This is the transition from being a child into being an adult. And even though we are all grown up and we have certain age, it doesn't mean that we have graduated into this reality that we call life. We may have graduated in schools, but have we graduated spiritually, emotionally, mentally? We have to graduate on these levels too. So we are now seeing these things. We are able to see where are we infants, where are we still locked into this inner child, distorted child existence. So we are facing this kind of shadow now, and we are given an opportunity to get out of that shelter, to break the shell in order to grow up and to express who we are to the world. Capricorn, the 10th house, ambitions, career, profession, recognition, reputation, our true vocation, our true calling, who we are in the world, our role in the world. We as role models, this is the 10th house, our public image, our public performances, our public standing, and Cancer is our private life, our privacy, and this is public life. So we will feel this push and pull between the outer and inner, between our privacy and our public life, between our inner child and our adult selves, between our mother and father, between our inner mother and inner father, because this 4th house and Cancer is mother, while 10th house and Capricorn is father. So we may feel this kind of duality within ourselves between our mother issues and father issues, and how we feel like a ping pong game between those issues, between those two separated poles. But Capricorn is truly about learning to unify those poles that are at war within ourselves, and to bring the wisdom of knowing that it's all integrated, it's all the part of the greater system. Saturn in Pisces, the ruler of this full moon, It's in Pisces. Pisces teaching us that everything is interconnected. And this Saturn in Pisces will be teaching us this in the next 2 years, 2.5 years. And we have an ability to manifest our dreams. But how can we manifest our dreams if we don't take full responsibility of who we are, of our past as well, and of our future? So who are we? Are we our past? Are we our future? Are we our present moment? Or are we truly a present moment that encompasses the past, the present, and the future? It's not about being in the present moment. It's about being the present moment itself. Learning how to break out from the cycles of repetitions and to see those repetitions not as punishments, but as rewards. Those things are there to teach us something. And we are now feeling a little bit crucified between the left brain and the right brain hemisphere, between our intuition and our logic. And this is the main duality that we live with in this whole world, between our intuition and our logic. And sometimes we feel those kinds of contradictions when we want to unite the logic and intuition. But when we feel contradictions, we should know that this is good sign. We are on the right path, because if it seems paradoxical and illogical and irrational, I suggest we should go there and examine it fully, even if it turns out it was just truly totally irrational. But we should always examine those things that seem irrational, because there is where the mystery is. And even if we don't find that it was valid and stable, again we will discover something through that research of that which is irrational. So we are learning about the unity in diversity as well. And this is about trusting that we can truly become who we dream of. We can truly become the pure soul of the world in this time and space. And Capricorn is also about our cross of matter, and learning through that symbol that we live in a world of 4 elements: earth, water, air, and fire. And these are different entities, and they are all within ourselves too. And in the human being, these 4 elements come together, and the 5th element is revealed: ether and spirit, our soul. This is revealed when we align with all 4 elements, which are our matter, our body, our energy, our emotions, our time, our processes, our wisdom, our experiences, and our space, our perception, our mentality, our mental body. So we have to be able to see that we are much more than just this material body. We are much more than just energy as well. We are much more than just time, and we are much more than just space. We are all of this: matter and energy and time and space. And these 4 points create the cross of matter. And this cross of matter is truly encoded into our DNA. And once we start taking full responsibility for who we are, once we start building ourselves into a full, responsible, mature, emotionally mature being, into a person of integrity, we start unlocking these 4 points within ourselves, and we start unlocking this cross of matter within ourselves too. And by unlocking these things, we can truly see that everything that has happened in our life up until now is not just what led us to this point where we are here, but it's also something that can be upgraded and changed. It can be rewritten by us being the present moment, because what has been and what will be is changeable through the present moment, through us being present, being aware, being conscious. And this is why we have to shift from this victim consciousness into a self-mastery consciousness. So we have to learn to own our feelings, to own our emotions, to own ourselves, to know that we have to do some dirty work from time to time in order to build ourselves into what we want, to build our life into what we want it to be. And this full moon reminds us of living a life fully. There is this Capricorn part in us is not afraid of disappearing, but it's more afraid of living a life that hasn't been lived. So we may be shown now if we feel like we have lived a life that hasn't been lived. And we are also learning that time is very subjective perspective, and it can change. So we can now understand that it's not about that something comes before or after. It comes when we decide it to come. And we can release ourselves from the limitations of time and space. But this happens within ourselves. It doesn't mean that we leave responsibilities that we have outside of us. It means to build this inner strength to face everything that happens in our life with pure soul within ourselves. If we polish ourselves every day, we will be able to see things in a much clearer way. So we won't have a need for others to take care of us, or we won't have a need to save others, or we won't have a need to be saved, or we won't have a need to be powerful in a way to dominate others. We won't have a need to prove ourselves so much and to be rewarded, to be recognized, because we may have this strong need to be recognized for what we do. This is Capricorn full moon. We may feel emotionally wounded and paralyzed and frozen emotionally. And this is Cancer and Saturn. Polarity between Saturn and Moon and Cancer and Capricorn, because Saturn and Capricorn can freeze our emotions and feelings. It can freeze our speech, because Mercury is in Cancer too. It can freeze our way and paralyze our way of expressing ourselves, because we may be too much identified with those lower expressions of Capricorn and Cancer, where we feel emotionally abandoned and very vulnerable and sensitive, and we want others to recognize what we are going through without telling them what we are going through. So we may feel that we are breaking down and breaking apart, and this is exactly the time when the power of inner strength is the strongest. When we feel the weakest, when we feel the most powerless that we can feel, this is when this fuel for inner strength is being created. And this is when we can truly set high level dreams and visuals that we can then manifest. And we now have a huge help from Jupiter. Jupiter is in Taurus, another earth sign. And Jupiter in Taurus makes a beautiful, friendly, harmonious trine aspect with this full moon. And this trine gives us a friendly and supportive and benevolent ability and opportunity to break out of those limitations and regulations and rules and restrictions and obstacles that we feel constantly every day, that we want to escape from, that we want to either erase or dominate or put on the throne or make it as something that we have deserved. We are learning that we can take a day off if we need to. If we are going into this extreme of overworking, if life is maybe too hard to face, so we have to work continuously, we have a need to constantly be busy with something to build our public image, then we are identified with this lower frequency of Capricorn. But it's not wrong. It's also there to help us to evolve from it through time. It's a progress. It's a step-by-step process. Step by step, slowly, patiently. This is Capricorn and Saturn. Do things slowly, ground ourselves. Let's take one step after another. Don't rush, because everything will be aligned sooner or later. So we are learning this. So Jupiter, the bringer of abundance, Jupiter brings the wisdom, and Capricorn is about building self-mastery. So we have a truly powerful moment to build our inner strength, our spiritual strength, and to unlock this cross of matter within ourselves. And truly to understand that we don't have to overwork ourselves in order to feel useful. We don't have to do everything from our to-do list if that is hurting us, if we forget to eat because of that, if we forget to live because of that. We don't have to do those things. We have to take care of ourselves. This is also the highest expression of Capricorn and Cancer. Take care of ourselves so that we can contribute in a constructive way, so that we can contribute to others, so that we can be a true role model. Let's ask ourselves, what kind of role models are we to others? Let's ask ourselves, if I was 5 or 6 years old and I was watching my adult self, would I be a role model to myself? What kind of role model would I be to myself? What kind of role model would I want to have in my life? And let's behave in that way. Let's go into that direction where we are living in a way that we would want to live. Let's live in this way that we would want to our role models to live. What kind of role models are we to ourselves, to our inner child, to others around us, to our friends and family, to our children if we have them, to other people's children? It doesn't matter. What kind of role models are we? What kind of influence do we have? What kind of impact? What kind of impression do we leave onto others with our life, with our behavior, with our words, with our gestures, with our whatever, with any our expression of emotions? How do we express ourselves? How do we communicate? How do we deal with hard things? How do we deal with happy things? How do we deal with celebrations? How do we deal with grief? What do we do, and what kind of impression do we leave? What kind of message do we send to the world? What kind of message do we leave into this world? Capricorn may go into this extreme where it doesn't want to do anything. Capricorn part in us can be totally detached from material realm and denying it. So we have these two extremes. Either we are too into the material realm, too much taking life too seriously, taking things too personally, feeling that we are always losing time, we don't have time for life, we don't have time for this, we don't have time for that, we have to work. Or there is this other extreme, where we are afraid of work, where we are afraid of success, afraid of being in public. We just want to stay in the safety of our home. We just want to be held. We just want to be taken care of. We just want that someone tells us it's okay, you would have deserved to take a rest. Take a rest, it's okay, you don't have to go outside. There. It's everything is fine, just stay there, I will bring you a cup of tea and feel safe and don't be afraid of anything. So we have this need to stay in that forever. I'm not saying that this is not good, but we have a tendency to stay in this scenario forever, or we run away from home. We never want to be at home. We just want to be outside. And of course, nothing is so black and white, but we may feel this war within ourselves, war between these two different polarities and extremes, war between our need to stay at home and our need to express ourselves into the world, our need to build our career and our need to build our family, our need to just not do anything in life and quit everything that we already do and just run away from everything, run away from life, deny the body, deny the matter, deny money, deny finances, and just live in a world and create everything your home. Or another, there are many different scenarios, but each extreme tells us that we are missing something. We are missing something. We are missing our true link with our inner selves. That's why we have a need to build our home somewhere outside of ourselves. That's why we feel other people as our home, because we don't feel ourselves like home. So we want to find that home somewhere else. But we have forgotten to nurture our inner home. We have forgotten to build our inner family. So this full moon will tell us in many ways, either through our external family or our soul family or our inner family. It will tell us what is missing, what is not right, what needs to mature, what needs to grow. So we are, as I said, in this transition between the child and an adult. And we will be experiencing issues around mother and father, issues between the child and adult, issues between our home and work, our career. It's not so much about the job that we have. It's not so much about the things that we do for money, but it's also that as well. But it's more about our true inner calling, our mission in this life, our purpose. This is also the highest expression of Capricorn, knowing our purpose, knowing our mission, and being aligned with that mission. It doesn't have to be one thing. We can feel new mission and new purpose in any moment, but it should be sustainable. It should be continuously there, because it comes from the wisdom of the heart. It comes from the wisdom of what has been and what will be. And we are learning how to be like a fountain, how to continuously, just express and receive. Like, how can we continuously breathe? It's just like breathing. It's just like stretching and shrinking. It's just like expanding and contracting, breathing. So we need both of these, like a system of fountain, as I said. Like we express it and then we receive it back, and it's continuously cleansed and healed. And again, it's coming. It's like electromagnetic impulse. It's alive. It's a Taurus field, and Jupiter is in Taurus, and it can bring the expansion of consciousness in that sense of feeling our bodies as truly intelligent tools for clairvoyance, for self-cognition, and for self-mastery. It is exactly through the wisdom of our bodies that we can channel the wisdom of the spirit. This is Capricorn again. It's about embodying the spirit. It's about channeling our soul wisdom, our soul journey. And how well do we do that? So when we express many obstacles and challenges on the way, when we feel that life is a mess, this is telling us that we are not truly channeling our soul's purpose at the moment, and this is correcting us. It's a course correction. Those obstacles, those heavy feelings, those losses that we experience are always putting us back on the track. So whenever we feel loss, whenever we feel pain, whenever we feel grief, whenever we feel betrayal, whenever we feel anything that is not really comfortable, we should know that this is taking us back on the right track so that we can channel the soul's purpose through our experience on this planet Earth. And we are learning that we carry this wisdom of each archetype of the zodiac, and then each sign of the zodiac has within itself more archetypes. And Capricorn is known as the sea goat. It has a fish tail and it has the horns in the head of the Capricorn. So it's very mystical creature, and it has a huge, beautiful symbology and meaning. So we usually forget that we have this fishtail part, and we just want to climb the top of the mountain. We just want to reach that top place. But just when we seem that we are almost there, we come back. So it may feel like we are moving forward, but we are also moving backwards, like one step ahead, two steps backwards. This is because we forget that we are also beings of subtle energies, of time and space too. That we are not only matter, we are also energy, time and space. And that we can truly travel through time. We also can see this when we are going through some mental processes. We can move through time. So we are now understanding that we have this wisdom of the sea within ourselves too. It's not only the goat, the matter, it's also about the water and the subconsciousness. So the Capricorn has the power to sink and to reach the depth of the ocean. And then, thanks to the depth of the ocean, to rise and to reach the top of the mountain, to reach it as a true goat. So we go down, 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 and then when we reach the bottom, then we rise up. So this is the process of breathing as well, going down and going up. And it's not only about rising. So we rise in the spirit, that's like a phrase, but we are not only rising, we have to get down to do the work. We have to get down to plant what we want to see growing. We have to get down to reach the roots of who we are, so that we can reach the heights that we want to be. So let's not forget that we have the fishtail as well. And this is the wisdom of the subconsciousness and consciousness, of making the unconscious conscious. And this full moon can illuminate those parts that have been hidden. This full moon shines a light onto those things that are unconscious. So out of the water comes the wisdom and secrets of life, and through effort of Capricorn, through effort and investments, these things are given form. And we can spiritualize matter, if I can say it like that. We can understand that body is not our enemy, matter is not our enemy, money is not our enemy. We hear those phrases where money is evil, money is the root of all evil, but it's really not. It's how we use it. Do we use it or do we abuse it? Do we know how to use our resources? Are we responsible? Are we mature? Do we take responsibility, or do we put those responsibilities onto others? Do we blame others? Blame the system, blame the government, blame the economy, blame the banks, blame taxes, blame whatever, blame anything, just not ourselves and how we value ourselves, how we value who we are. Do we know our purpose? How do we present ourselves? What kind of role models are we? Are we only complaining, or do we do something about it? Capricorn is about concrete work. Let's do something about it. Let's get real. Let's get real to heal. Let's feel in order to heal. Let's get real, So we are experiencing those kinds of limitations, but also we are experiencing this kind of freedom that is hidden. And the sea goat is also related with our kundalini. And this is also, the kundalini, the bottom of our being, at the bottom of our spine, the sea goat, the very bottom, and then rising to the skull, the intelligence, the mental energy, our intuition and our logic. So we have potential for self-mastery thanks to these things. And Capricorn is about creating the world. It's the world of forms and shapes. And we are really master builders. This is who we truly are. We are master builders. And the question is, what am I building? What am I building right now that is long-term, that is sustainable, that is sufficient, that can serve me and others, that is not only for me, but that is also serving everyone around me? What am I doing and what am I building in order to create something that will serve all of us? So we are going through this kind of initiation. Capricorn is about self-initiation and self-mastery. And this is initiation from the child into an adult. And we go through these cycles many times in our life. Many times we have this kind of initiation where we go through this transit from being a child into being an adult. And this doesn't mean that the child disappears if we become adults. The child is always there, but it's not anymore in the shadows. It's acknowledged. It's taken care of. It has an authority, so that we don't have to search for external authority, because we have it within ourselves. So this is truly about our path of remembering our fishtails, remembering that we have to get down, remembering our roots, remembering our true origin, so that we know that we are not only living this body and this matter that has the beginning and ending, but knowing that we are much more than that. Knowing that it's not only about achieving things, it's not only about fulfilling our goals and dreams in this material realm. It's about cultivating the pure soul. It's about searching for wisdom, searching for truth, searching for inner strength and for inner liberty and inner liberation. So wisdom comes through engaging with life, not escaping life. And we have Neptune retrograde. Neptune starts its retrograde motion on the 30th of June, and this full moon happens on 3rd of July. Saturn is also in Pisces. Neptune is also in Pisces. They are both retrograde. So this is very much about our spiritual journey. And while Saturn is there, it's about understanding it and embodying it. So this wisdom, as I said, comes from engagement with life. It's not about going somewhere far away and leaving everything behind. It's not about cutting off everyone from our life either. It's not about locking ourselves and just being on our own. We have to engage with life, even though it gets uncomfortable. This is what life is about. Sometimes we have to get into conflicts. They are not something bad. Sometimes we have to experience the downside of life. It's not bad. It's the diversity of being alive. The problem is that we don't want to deal with those things. But we are now given this opportunity to grow from the child to an adult. And this is happening through self-discipline, through self-responsibility, through devotion and loyalty, through all these qualities of Capricorn. But we may have some problems with our rules, with our limitations, with our restrictions that we have inherited through who knows what. We have inherited it through our bloodline. We have inherited it through many different lifetimes. We have inherited it through our childhood. We have inherited it through our ancestors. It doesn't matter where it comes from. What matters is that we deal with it and that we allow ourselves to be purged by it. And through this process of purging, we may feel some burning as well, but we may also feel the liberty, because this purging fire will bring us a creative impulse within ourselves. And Mars and Venus are together in Leo. They make a square with Uranus. Uranus, the great awakener, the planet of shocks and surprises, and Mars and Venus, two lovers in the creative, fiery Leo sign. So we have this impulse and help, this passion to wake up, and this will be a sobering moment for many of us. We are being shaken up. Our reality and our comfort zone is being shaken up. This Uranus says, wake up. It's like that uncomfortable alarm that we hear and that we just want to turn it off. But it's ringing and it doesn't stop ringing. We have to wake up to something. And for some of us, it can mean that we have to take time for ourselves. We shouldn't lose ourselves into continuously trying to blind ourselves with too much work, with too many ambitions, too many goals, too much drama of life. But we can take the day off or take days off if we have to take care of ourselves, to have some time with ourselves, so that we can really feel our purpose, so that we can truly feel what are we missing, so that we can understand that being useful doesn't come only through doing the work that we have to do every day. We can maybe be much more useful if we take some time for ourselves and just contemplate and just feel the feelings, just be there for ourselves, just be there for our inner child, be willing to become an adult, accept the cross of matter, and let's learn the wisdom that life is teaching us. What is life teaching us? We may feel like we are grappling with limitations, we are grappling with boundaries, we are grappling with rules and structures. But through this grappling, we find new ways. We find new ways to deal with them. We sometimes may feel like these limitations and restrictions are choking us, just like in the battle, in the grappling. But we can find new ways to deal with that situation, to get ourselves in the new place from where we can have a different perspective. So we change the angle of looking while we are grappling. And this takes time. It takes some time, but step by step we are learning. We are building something from the ground up, and getting our hands dirty by building something from the ground up. and engaging with life. And we are dealing with what is old as well. Saturn and Capricorn has to do with the past and with things that are old and tried and known. And we are now dealing with what is old. The old order must be periodically overthrown so that life can be renewed. And this full moon in Capricorn is also teaching us about that, about how to renew ourselves through overthrowing the old. This is like the Game of Thrones, but it happens within ourselves all the time. We are feeling that we are continuously being overthrown and back again and overthrown and back again. But this is the wisdom of cycles. And each time we are overthrown, we learn something new and we build from the ground up again. But we have to be aware of our fishtail, as I said. Don't forget it. But also know that the old king must die so that new king can be born. And this is what we are experiencing collectively on many levels. In the world of politics, in the world of economy, in the world of finances, in the world of families, in the world of genders, in the world of our individual perception of life. On all levels it's happening, and it's about growing up, and as I said, taking responsibility and working with reality rather than figuring it out. And we are asking ourselves if our work is truly fulfilling us. Are we doing the work just for the sake of doing it, just for the sake of finishing it, just for the sake of crossing that thing from our to-do list? Or are we doing things that really fulfill our purpose, that really make us feel not only alive, but that make us feel involved with life completely, where we can feel like this is the life that I call life. This is the life that is a lived life. What would we say if we were observing our lives from the distance? Or if we had the power to detach from our body and to look at ourselves from different angle, from the bird view, let's say. Would we like our life if we were looking at it continuously? What would we feel and how would we feel? What would we tell to us if we were looking at our life as we are looking at the movie? Let's imagine seeing, experiencing and observing our lives as movies or as episodes, whatever. We are just looking at the recording. What would we feel? What would we say to this character in the movie? What kind of advices would we give to this role in the movie? What kind of advice would we tell? What would we say? What would we approve? What we won't approve? Let's see what kind of critical perception we have about our life. But when we are distanced, when we are detached from it, let's try to observe who we are and how we move into this world through looking at our life as a movie. We can try this now. It's very good exercise, mentally and emotionally. Very, very good, very constructive, very powerful. And we are now understanding that we have to get real, as I said. Let's just get real. Let's not allow ourselves to get lost into some kind of fantasies. Spiritual bypassing is always a danger. Let's be careful about what we think spirituality is, and let's not get into that trap of thinking that we are better than others if we do something that is approved by majority in some spiritual communities. Let's not fall into that trap of thinking that we are better than those who are doing some other things. Let's honor those diversities and honor everyone's level of being, and let's not deal with others' journeys, let's deal with our own journey. Let's see ourselves first, and let's deal with our own insecurities, disbalances, with our own traumas, with our own shadows. Let's deal with those things instead of searching for mistakes and errors in others, or using them as tool for feeling better, because you can compare with others and feel much better if you, for example, do something in some community where you are heard or whatever, and someone is not doing that. Someone feels miserable, for example. Misery is not the problem. Misery is also part of life, but we shouldn't feel miserable because there is misery. You understand? We shouldn't feel alone if we feel loneliness. But we identify with those feelings. That is why I say we have to feel them in order to heal them. So let's allow ourselves to feel these things, and let's see, how do we want to live? What does success mean to me? What is success for me? What are my first impressions and associations when I think about success? Are we completely honest with ourselves? What does my soul yearn for? Do I know? Do I listen to myself? What is it that I'm really here to do? Do we ever ask ourselves this question when we are alone with ourselves? Can we deepen our experience? Can we deepen our relationships? Can we deepen our way of earning and owning resources that we create and recreate and use in many ways? What do we need to do in order to feel recognized, to feel empowered, to feel seen and noticed, not only by others, but by my higher self? How can we make our dreams a reality? Not only by praying and manifesting and imagining, but by really doing the work. Capricorn and Saturn, let's do the work, real work, physical, material. Let's see the results in the material. Let's manifest those ideas. Let's bring them to life. This full moon will bring something to light for sure, and bring something to life. And as I said, we may feel this struggle and this balance between our mother issues and our father issues, between our child and our adult, between our logic and intuition. But through this grappling, we have an ability to discover more places within ourselves, and we can find more time within ourselves, more time. And Capricorn is the most stoic sign of earth signs, so we may feel like true stoics of life, but let's not go into extreme with that either. Let's learn to be stoics, wise ones, those who know the limits and the boundaries. Let's understand that this is material reality where souls grow and evolve through interaction and through dramas between people. We experience pain and suffering only because of those dramas between people, those different roles and our attachments. Then we get into those fears of being left or being betrayed or being misunderstood and being left in many ways, because of death, because of betrayal, because of some other things. But we are learning that This is that moment when we are living a life that has a purpose, living a life that is worth living, and it comes from deep within our souls. It doesn't come through externalization of happiness. It is about how we extend the roots of our being into the world. How do we show our inner core values into the world? Cancer is our womb. It's our inner reality. And Capricorn can be our tomb as well, but it's also our external reality. And we shouldn't deny each of them. We shouldn't deny any of them, but use the power of this trine with Jupiter to expand these roots of who we are and to expand the possibilities of living, of truly seeing that life is much more than we can see and touch. This is Capricorn, and it gives us the power to feel through our 5 senses. But the highest expression is to understand that all these material things come from the world of ideas and from the world that is maybe unknown and unseen, but it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. So we are learning how to channel that kind of energy through our body and how to unlock and unblock that cross within ourselves so that we can embrace the 4 elements and unlock the 5th one, which is ether and our direct link with the soul, and understanding that life is to be lived, not afraid of, not denied, not ignored, but lived, even if it's a misery that we feel, even if it's grief, even if it's unstoppable pain. This has specific meaning for us. This is there for a reason, and it's giving us some message. It's an information. Our body, when it goes through some kind of pain, if we go through injury, it's again an information. Because of that information, our nervous system detects it and transfers it further. So then we experience the physical manifestations and sensations. But remember those fishtails. Remember our spiritual origin. Remember that we are much more than the beginning and ending. We don't have the beginning and ending. Our bodies do, and our bodies are truly sacred vessels through which we can remember these truths. But we have to work on purging ourselves all the time through all kinds of feelings, whether they are comfortable or uncomfortable. And so this full moon in Capricorn, I don't know, I would end with this because I see that I'm going further and further, and I'm repeating the same thing, because this repetition is very important now as well. Capricorn is about building something, and when we are building something, there are many times where we have to do something again, layer by layer, step by step, until we reach the top. So we have to repeat something, we have to put effort, we have to be patient, we have to know that it will succeed, because when we know it, we create it. And we can shift our expectations of what we need to get done in order to feel worthy, to have a break. We don't have to have approval that we can take a break. We can take the break anytime we feel a need for it. And now it's an ideal time to take some time for ourselves and really nurture ourselves. Bring that child into an adult mode. Take care of that child and don't allow others to have this role instead of you. Let's have our own authority and our authentic selves to live this life fully. And this would be all, really, really. And let's, sink into those depths of our beings. Let's see that we have this fishtail within ourselves so that we can sink deep and rise up to the top of the mountain like goats. And I will meet you on the top. we will all meet at the top. Even if we are all going in different ways, different directions, we are taking different routes, but we will all eventually meet on top of that mountain, and we will all exchange our stories and experiences without any blame and hurt and pain, because we will purge ourselves through that purgatory journey of who we are. Thank you all for commenting, for watching, for subscribing, for liking, for supporting, for being here, for living your life, for not being afraid of sinking and rising, for not being afraid of breathing, for not being afraid of taking full responsibility of what we are feeling and experiencing and living. Thank you for being responsible and emotionally open people to experience everything that life gives, so that we can bring the reality that we want to, so that we can all learn how to grow. Thank you all, love you all, see you in 2 weeks, bye bye.